Good morning. As I came out of the meditation room, I had an idea of what I was going to talk about. When I got to the computer, it changed in the first 10 minutes. I usually come out of the meditation room around 4 o'clock each day so that I have a little bit of preparation time before doing the video. That's when I do it at 4:44, obviously. Anyway, the title for today that I ended up with is Rolling Jubilee, World Trusts, and Nesara. Jubilee is a spiritual concept from ancient cultures, both Hebrew and Mayan. Every 50 or 52 years, all debts were forgiven and all slaves were set free. I've talked about this before, though it's been a while. Yesterday, one of my friends from Hawaii sent me a short video entitled, "What is the Rolling Jubilee?" He indicated that $4.5 million has already been raised for the purpose of buying bad debt and canceling it. Buying bad debt is what debt collectors do all the time, except they do not cancel it. They try to collect it. Now consider if the huge amounts of money in the world trusts was used for this purpose. All the fictional debt in the world could be easily and quickly erased. That would be the start of Nesara implementation and a whole new world. And in the description for this video, I include the links for Rolling Jubilee, St. Germain World Trust, and also for Nesara. And by the way, the latter two, if you Google them, you can find a whole lot of links. Take your pick and it'll lead you where you're supposed to go. Initially in the meditation room, as I sat there first praying for various people, as I do pretty much every day, and then my thoughts were directed toward trouble spots in the world. The impression came to me, Ron, you spend an awful lot of time looking at what's wrong. And I smiled and in my meditative way thought the thought, yes, I guess I do. There are some people that think the world is perfect just as it is. I get those people all the time. Some of them have been long-time listeners to my videos, watchers or whatever. And they keep trying to tell me that you have to see the world as perfect. And I guess people look at me as being negative because I always look at what can be improved or what can be fixed. I see the problems and my heart breaks because I know that they're imaginary in the respect that they don't have to be there. It's only a perspective. And so when I came to the computer this morning thinking I was going to be talking about that subject, is it perfect just the way it is? I was actually presented with some solutions as I looked at my Facebook page and saw what I had posted. I had posted the link from my friend in Hawaii, Ken Hunt, and he, by the way, is or was the Florida governor from RUSA. But anyway, I don't know if he's resigned, which is why I say was or is. I'm not sure what his current status is. In any case, that got me thinking, well, here's some solutions I can put out before you that will do both things. It will focus on the problem of debt, which is massive in our world, and on solutions to the debt situation or to the economic situation. Now, you've all heard me say, if you've been listening for any length of time, that the monetary system is the root cause of all the problems in the world. And you know, you can't solve a problem with the same level of thinking that created the problem in the first place. Well, what created the problem is there's a bunch of individuals, not a big number, a big number that make their living off of that small number, but there's this group of individuals that use the financial system to control the world, or at least to attempt to control the world. Now, they're learning the hard way that they can't put truth in a box and shut it out, because sooner or later the truth is going to get out and people are going to wake up. It's just the way it is. It's an organic process, as my friend Aristomenes would say. It's an organic. It's a living change that flows. The world will come back to homeostasis. And I think that's what's happening, and it began happening last year as the underworlds were opened. And as we entered the ninth wave, and to me, ever since 11/11 last year, we're in no time, up until perhaps a little over a month from now, when we'll enter into the new world that we've been promised, or the obvious golden age will be manifest. And this rolling Jubilee idea, this world trusts and Nesara idea, these things may be the tipping point, or the visible change that we've all been waiting for and anticipating. Certainly it's not the re-election of Obama, although some people may think that that's a good thing. I still wonder. I think he may be swept into the Nesara thing, but he'll have to not serve the corporation. He'll have to serve the republic in that respect. And boy, that's going to make a lot of people in the republic mad if that happens. I'd rather see Ron Paul or Dennis Kucinich at the helm. But who cares? Jubilee, as I said, in the Hebrew calendar, there was the year of Jubilee. It was every 50th year. All debts were to be erased, forgiven, wiped out. And all the slaves were to be liberated. The same thing is true in the Mayan culture, except it was 52 years, not 50. That was the only difference. Now, the world trusts is an interesting topic. There are a multitude of world trusts, by the way. Perhaps one of the more famous ones among metaphysicians, anyway, is the Saint Germain World Trust, which is purportedly contains $1 quadrillion. Now, what does that number look like? It's a 1 with 40 zeros after it, if I remember correctly. Quadrillion. 40 zeros after the 1. I mean, that certainly minimizes the billions and trillions. I mean, it would wipe out everything if that were, in fact, the truth. It's the stuff of legends, and I don't know how much of it is real and how much of it isn't. But then again, how much of anything in our world is real? Certainly, debt is not real. The interest that is collected or charged on loaning money, which is itself a debt instrument in the current world, whether it's euros or dollars or whatever, it's a debt instrument. It's money that's been borrowed by people that want to rule the world. And the amount of money for the interest is never created and put into circulation, so that it will automatically create foreclosures, and it'll create the failure of debt to be collected, or bad debt. And there are a whole bunch of companies and people that make their living as debt collectors. They buy the debt that has not been able to be paid for pennies on the dollar. Now, there's also insurance policies in the system that also pay out to the investor so that they don't lose everything. They get something back. And I could go into a whole long description of how the debt is easily, because of investors, is paid off every time. I mean, every debt is paid when it's incurred. And it's all a prison, it's all a fiction to keep us as slaves to the economic system of the world. Now, Nesara is the National Economic Stability and Recovery Act. I think there's two different ways of defining the acronym. One of them is supposed to be the real way, and one of them is supposed to be not the real way. But it is a plan of, among other things, of debt forgiveness, or of buying the debt. Now, debt collectors, of course, as I said in the blurb, buy the debt with the intent of, let's hound these people for what they think they owe, and we'll be able to make a good increase, even if we wipe out 50% or even 75% of the debt and make an offer, we still come out like ahead of the game. We still make out like like bandits. We bought the debt for 3 cents or 4 cents on the dollar, and if we can get even 10 or 15 cents on the dollar back, we did really well. And that's the game of debt collecting. But Jubilee is the game of debt forgiveness. It's doing the same thing the debt collectors do, except they don't hound you for the money. They just burn it. They just let it go up in smoke and back into the fictitious world from which it came. It's just ones and zeros. Numbers and zeros. That's all it is. It's a game. It's a fiction. It's the illusion that has controlled the world. It's the illusion that makes you and me feel lack because we don't have enough zeros after our limited amount of money. That's a fiction. It's a game. Nesara is part of the waking up. I do believe there are world trusts. Whether the Saint Germain Trust is real or not, I have believed in it. I have placed a lot of hope that it would be released. But there are lots of world trusts. Foster Gamble talks about it in the Thrive movies and the Thrive movement. This is enough money to fund every project known to man. But the problem is the oligarchs, who are oiligarchs, because oil is their prime commodity. It's using that oil thing, and somebody said that Obama's going to change the Constitution and have not only a third term, or not only the second term, but also a third term and possibly even a fourth term because of all the oil reserves that have been found in the United States. Well, that's making a prediction based on the old system. The old system is going to be defunct. It's going to pass away. We are not going to be measuring energy from oil anymore because there are better ways. There are cleaner alternatives. There are alternatives that liberate us from that bondage of slavery and set us free from the illusion of debt. Debt doesn't have to ever be. You can make contracts with friends if you have shortages, but we're moving into a world where there will not be shortages anymore. That's a perception. I want you to understand that. It's only a perception that there's not enough. There's always been enough. And we're moving into a world. How it gets here and how soon it gets here, I don't know. But we're moving into a world where that illusion, which is a delusion, no longer exists, where we realize that we are interconnected, that we can have everything that we need, and even lots of stuff that we want, and we don't have to live in a dog-eat-dog world where everybody's out for him or herself and trying to get their piece of the pie before somebody else does. That's insanity. And that is changing. And that's part of the world that I want to fix. It's part that I want to heal. It's why I do these daily videos. To encourage you to not just see the problem, which I do believe is important, but to also see the solutions. Now, the rolling Jubilee is being created by people that invest in the project. I guess ordinary people can invest. I can't wait till the world trusts are put into that fund, until all the debts are erased and all the people are free. And at long last, we can live in a world that literally works for everyone. That's my vision. That's my dream. And as I said, it's why I do videos every day. Namaste. Thank you for listening.